And there's a dog. Meow, Huples cat. So this is checkpoint Delta. I'm actually making great time, and I also suspect this is not going to be a 10-mile walk. So I won't bore you with this. Basically what I do is I stop for about 5 minutes. I have about half a litre to a litre of water depending on how I feel. I might have a light snack, like a little bar or a gel, depending on how I feel. I stretch a little bit. I shuck the ruck for about 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then go to the toilet if I need to, which is basically at the side of the road or behind a tree. I assess myself, I assess my feet. Are there any hot spots, any pressure points? Because right now I have a little pressure point on the right big toe, and my right thigh is feeling a little bit chafed. So that's another thing I'm going to demonstrate for a more arduous and different type of scenario, is actually applying Vaseline. Vaseline is your friend if you are going a long way on a bike, on foot, or racing. And this is actually where I would be stopping. On a foot bug out would be inside of there. It's actually fairly deep. It's got some trails in it. It's off trail where I'm going, and that's where I would sleep during the day before heading again down the road, or I can go down there and then that way, or I can go up there and then that way. Have lots of opportunities and choices. But realistically, in a sudden SHDF, planning to bug out by car is probably not going to function for you. Walking on one side only for a prolonged period of time will absolutely extenuate and make worse any leg imbalances, and most people have them, and is not a good idea. So I can see no cars at the main entrance, but if there was and I wanted to avoid, I would trespass very briefly. Critical components of the bug out is staying warm, staying cool in the heat, being able to eat and drink sustainably for as long as it takes to go from where you're going to get there and back again. You can crochet along the route, and I would suggest you do that. You can also go at different times of the year and see what it's like. For example, for me to walk to the Shire in the middle of winter is going to take me 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. And I'll be doing a lot of it on snowshoe with a huge pack. In July, with a bicycle, I could stretch it to 2 to 3 days, no problem. And I'd have to take a lot less gear. Situational. So when people pack bug out bags and say, well, you have to change it seasonally, they're on the idea. What you have to do is change your route seasonally. You have to change your whole concept of where you're going to sleep, where you're going to get water, how you're going to get dry, how you're going to avoid rain falling on you. Because yep, today I'm supposed to have heavy rain and possibly snow. Anyway, I won't bore you with this unless we see a horsey. There's a lot of horse farms around here. Next stop will be the end of the bug out trail, and then we'll be making coffee. So you better have a good sense of direction or a really good map. Do not rely on internet at all. I don't have a data plan on my phone. I don't intend to get one. So the main problem is I wanted this to be my last day at work. Kitty was there the day before, and there was a big dirty bomb in New York City, and Biden's screeching about murdering Iranians and Russians, and America's very upset. Hundreds of thousands dislocated, a few thousand dead. I'm at work and I can't get away from work after my night shift, and I tell Kitty, get your parents, go to the Shire, I'll figure out where I'm going to go along the route. This is the route I'm going to take, this is approximately when I'm leaving. Go to the Shire, get your parents in place, fill soil in plastic bags because we may be having a radioactive event, and then come back and get me. And this is my routes, and this is where I'll be camping at night. So she would know where I would be, and I'm going to rely on that. Now, cell phone service in this scenario might be up until a war starts, and the war may not start. But what I don't want is Kitty to have to get her parents who are in their 80s and then drive downtown to get me, or even worse, drive downtown on her own to get me, and then try to come back to get her parents. I wasn't kidding when I said what you do in the first hour decides whether you live or die. And what you do in the first day decides whether you make a week. And what you do in the first week decides what you do. Trust people to get themselves out of danger if they can. Don't rely on things being in place. I have multiple bug out bags. Generally speaking, I always have a massive EDC bag. This one full of gear. I stripped it out. I stripped it out because I decided to make this tough. When I got up this morning, I didn't eat anything. I did have 2 pints of water and 1 cup of coffee. And on the route today, I haven't put proper shoes on. I have much better trail shoes than this, and these are the wrong colour for a nighttime bug out. But it's what I wear for work, so it's what I'm wearing. I used to wear jeans all the time. I don't have them anymore. Gave them up. I don't want to be caught dead in cotton jeans. What I have is decent hiking trousers, which I wear all the time. Cost a little bit more than jeans, but they last a lot longer, I'm finding. I always have a knife on me, I always have a ferro rod on me, I always have a flashlight on me. And generally speaking, I have 3 layers. I have a nice t-shirt, a nice sweatshirt. Both of these wick well, and it's a really good coat because I might be sleeping in this. I do have, generally speaking, except in the summer months, hat and gloves. I actually have usually at this time of year I'm carrying a scarf as well. I dump that because I don't want to carry it. I'm very, very close to Checkpoint Echo. Yeah, this has been kind of fun. It went the way I expected it to go. I'm a little bit tired, a little bit sore. But it was a good shakedown for me. And I hope you picked up some good tips along the way from me. I think this is actually 12 kilometers to the gate. And this sidebar where I'm going backwards, in essence, to go to a pond to make some coffee, is probably about another 2 kilometers. So I'm calling this about 14 and a half kilometers. 16.1 kilometer is 10 miles. So it's about 8.5 miles. A mere nothing. But if you consider the distances you might have to travel in Grid Down, with the supplies you might have in Grid Down, the people you might have to go with in Grid Down, you might start to see that this is more daunting than you think. People who don't work, who have rural properties, can easily give people in the cities the impression that 1, they know what they're doing, and 2, anybody can just grab a ruck and make it in the wilds. Pretty much nobody can. You need a home, and you need a home that you can grow food at. It's that simple. It's always been that simple. Society's not there, you're on your own. But you're not. You've got the people who live with you, and you've got the people who live near you. You have a community. That's what will survive. Not being able to eat bulrushes, which taste horrible, and actually take a huge amount of energy to get them up. Look, there's the geese. They came back. Checkpoint Echo, the destination. Pardon the train noise. So, unpacked the BuggingOut stove from the kettle pot. I'm going to use an easy bit of comparison so you can see the difference between the 2 technologies. I'm going to try this to fire start. Last time I used it, it was a total bust. So I used a full packet, and I'm going to use a ferro rod. This is from Waypoint Survival. Got it from James. It's a great little thing. Ain't got no time for that. What about this? I'm tired and it's windy. Not working at all, you see. Toilet paper. as you can see, the Easy Bit stove is not working very well. It keeps going out. I'm going to give up on that. I don't trust these outdoors. This is going along. And whether it's actually catching the thing, I don't know. What I do is I turn this on and then hit it again, and that'll help generate it. I added the Easy Bit to this. Might as well, right? So I haven't completely filled this. This will heat 2 litres in about 10 minutes and use about 1 to 2 twigs into there to do that. But I think realistically I'm going to make a couple of cups of coffee, let things cool off, and then I'm going to head back. No, it's not a great source of heat long term, but it is a very, very fuel efficient way of providing fire to boil water and to provide a little bit of electricity. So after 5 minutes it's boiling, which is great. I just want to have a couple of cups of coffee. When you're walking, you're going to get a lot hotter than you feel outside if you're just standing there. And once you stop walking, you're going to dramatically drop your temperature. So make sure that you're comfortable and not sweating while you're walking, but you can actually increase the layers once you stop walking. So I emptied it out into the water and I'm just letting it cool down. The fan goes automatically until the heating element cools down, and I'm having a cup of coffee, and I'm having another cup of coffee because I deserve it. Cheers. Yeah, I'm glad I did this. I'm not happy I missed out on sleep, but I'm glad I did it. I've done night stuff before, but it was good to remind my older body that it's been a lot of years since I actually did try it out, and I'm glad I did. I think I will do a few more of these over the next few months from various parts of Ontario, where I use different scenarios to go out and do it, because it depends on what's going on, right? You can't just grab one pack and head out and think you'll be fine. So yeah, I know I was pretty useless with the ferro rod. I usually use a big one, and I usually prepare the area. It was fairly windy. And this is, I think, a reality. I'm tired, and I just want to get a coffee and I want to get the damn fire lit. So bear that in mind. We do everything quite calmly. We do everything from comfort and using technology, but necessarily putting grid down, that technology may not be there or may not work properly or may not work at all. Keep it simple, keep it sustainable, and keep cheerful. And find somebody to do this with you. I should have made Kitty do this. Toodles. Love is in the air. So the battery goes into the rocket stove, and then the combination of that goes into the cook pot. Definitely get this. It stores this safely. It also heats water very, very quickly. Put it in gently. It can jam if you don't. And that's it. Press this on, put it in its container, off it goes. Things you'd never find on a map or from a car. That's actually a tiny little pathway in to the forest, and generally speaking I'd be bugging out from right to left, and if I wanted to get water from that pond I was at, pretty sure it's going to be about 15 minutes that way. Just to give you an idea of where we're at, that's the railway crossing I was at, and Checkpoint Delta is about a quarter of a mile over the breast of that hill, and Checkpoint Charlie is about half a mile from the crossing. It is starting to rain. Snow is forecast, but late evening. And this is Checkpoint Charlie in the daytime. See, I can cut through behind there and go out that way if I needed to, but this way is not really great for it. As you'll notice, there's more cars. Just to show you what I couldn't show you last night, So because we've had rain, the verge is full, but any garbage in there is soaked in. I'm not really that keen on taking that water, though. I would treat it and use it. But over there is one of multiple ponds. Standing water, a couple of inches down, a lot of sunlight usually, should be safe to drink. Just going to Checkpoint Bravo, and I thought I'd give you a taste of the area. This is very much horse country. Beautiful. So he came from over there, and that's Kitty. So the plan was Kitty was going to come about 8 o'clock and bring Wolfie, and we'd take him along a walk in that park, which would have been fine. But it's now 9:45, and I'm going to go to Checkpoint Bravo and continue onwards. Kitty's going to say she's leaving in about 10 minutes, which means probably about 25, and I'll just keep going that away, and I will keep an eye out for her. This has been actually a really good learning experience. I am overweight. I am not an ultramarathoner anymore, and these shoes are not good enough for this. The left one's fine. The right one is a little tight on the big toe, and I would never have known that if I hadn't headed out the door on such a long trip. So now I know it, and I will look for some different shoes. I haven't eaten anything. I didn't eat anything when I got up. I didn't eat anything, any of the snacks I brought. I decided to make it as tough as possible, and yeah, it's been kind of a learning experience. I've been walking and cooking and whatever for about 4 hours 15 minutes. Is that right? No, 5 hours 15 minutes. So probably about 4.5 hours of actual wandering along, excluding videoing. So 4.5 hours of walking. Not a lot, but I've gone quite a huge distance. I've definitely gone over 10 miles. So the pace is okay. Now, would I be able to get up and do it tomorrow? Oh, I doubt it. So this is Checkpoint Bravo. Looks a little different in the daylight. And onwards. So I've done about 24 kilometers. So right now you're going, what's a kilometer? Well, a kilometer is 0.6 of a mile or something like that. So it's a fairly hefty hike for me. And I'm kind of feeling it. I didn't expect to feel the 10 mile or 16 kilometers too much, and I don't think I would have done. But pushing myself for the extra bit is really worth it. It really shakes down the gear, shakes down the body, and whatever your limit is, if you go over your limit on an occasional basis, you learn a lot more than just training to your limits. You can see how hilly this is. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. Anyway, I better focus on Kitty, or I might miss her. A year-round water source, if you know where it is. And a happy little owl. Getting ready to chop up the wood for the winter. And there's Kitty. But no Wolfie. A happy sight. She's going to stop. That's it from me. Toodles, have a great weekend. Sub me if you like this. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Helps with my ego. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. Or give me a comment. What did I do wrong? What did I do right? Have a great week. Bye. This video was brought to you by a Purring Cat Production 2021.